First, I will tell you why we are fighting these people. The rise of militant Islam in Russia began after the fall of the Soviet Union with the rise of the Chechen rebellion according to their growing belief in Islamic fundamentalism and tensions against us for how much we control them. They initiated many attacks on us, including the infamous seizure of a Moscow theater in 2002 and the attack on an elementary school in 2004. We, of course, responded harshly on the orders of our great leader, Vladimir Putin, who is well known for his direct methods to achieving what he wants. We took over Chechnya and now maintain control over the government. Since then, the heart of the Russian Muslim population has moved closer to the heart of our nation, thereby making the amount of terrorist activity from Chechnya lower. However, this means that the threat is ever closer and the amount of Muslims converting to radicalized beliefs growing inside our very country. The pro-Islamic sentiment and propaganda is becoming popular in Russia, likely due to the lack of support for religion that we grant. Having such unhelpful conditions could fuel into their jihad ideology. Russian is even the third most popular Islamist state language. The center may have left Chechnya, but now the focus is on Russia itself. The US does not have as much immediate care for our conflict. Who needs them? This matter is one of Russian security and politics that the US should not become involved in. They need to keep their noses out of this. However, the effects of this insurgency could either help or hinder in the continuing struggle against the rise of Islamist terrorists. If this conflict continues to grow, likely one of two outcomes will come about. Either we come to recognize the threat these groups pose to the world and we become more interested in the larger fight with the US, not going to happen, or the Islamist population in Russia continues to rise. Then their rival in military and world power become a backer of their enemies should it be taken over. Again, not going to happen. We're too strong. I have to say these things for the sake of setting up our stakes and covering all scenarios, but we should be mildly concerned though, since the Chechen rebellions are well known to be connected to the radicalized sentiments in the Middle East. According to the Council of Foreign Relations, Russian authorities have repeatedly stressed the involvement of international terrorists and bin Laden associates in Chechnya. This conflict does have connection to the larger war on terrorism, so we may eventually have to spread our war on terrorism farther. Not many other nations besides us need to intervene in this matter. It's a matter of Russian security and politics, and one that we are well equipped to handle. Unlike nations like Afghanistan, who receive foreign aid in the fight against rebelling forces, we are already stable and have already had success in the fight against these enemies, such as our annexation of Chechnya in 2002 and ensuing forms of suppression. We also rank 8th in the world for our military expenditures of 5.4% of our GDP, compared to the U.S.'s puny ranking of 25th in the world, 4.4%. We don't need assistance from foreign nations, especially in the U.S. We live in constant rivalry with the U.S., and we won't be inviting them to come out, both because we don't like them and we don't need them. On the other hand, the Islamist movement in our country may either request or receive help from foreign groups such as ISIS. As mentioned above, there is already a history of them cooperating with Al-Qaeda to accomplish their mission. With such a strong force as Russia, one of these two instances will occur. The Islamist groups of the world back off due to the intimidation we place on them and leave these rebels to fight on their own, or the more likely choice, they will band together to topple such a powerful enemy of God. Russia's success would be defined by a squashed Islamist rebellion and or repelling those forces out of their nation and the Caucasus region. A great leader once said that he was convinced that if we did not stop the extremists, then we would be facing a second Yugoslavia across the entire territory of the Russian Federation. Putin seeks to maintain stability in the nations he controls. Therefore, if he begins to receive opposition, he reacts with quick force to fix that problem. However, as of yet, he has achieved further control over them to manage the situation, but he hasn't quashed the movement. Likely what causes this difficulty is the illusion of freedom. The Soviet model, which he looks to, had no religion allowed. Without religion, their leaders like Stalin were able to easily overpower the people. The Islamist movement itself is based on the idea of winning for their religion. Unless the great Putin creates annihilation in the religion aspect, he will never be able to remove what drives them to endlessly fight. And if he does perform this breach of freedom, which he should, the groups that exist nearby, such as aforementioned ISIS, will come for him as part of their jihad mission. If he fights their religion, then have made a greater enemy of their mission and therefore receive equal or stronger force against him. Success is likely impossible to achieve in this case. Putin can never completely remove the threat of Islamist movement from his rule. Many strong nations like Russia and the US have already tried and failed to do so, which is a testament how difficult it is. One possible option that will never fit into Putin's ideals is to relinquish Chechnya and thereby give the Islamist people of the Caucasus more freedom and grant them what they desire, which is separation and freedom to rule Chechnya on their own. Sovereignty is a massive part of this conflict. One of the main instigators of the Second Chechen War was the issue of Russia having a tight grip on Chechnya. Yeah, we're always going to have that. They sought independence, and in response, Putin placed complete control over them. They continued to fight due to outrage over their lack of sovereignty, whilst Putin fights to maintain control over his people. Putin doesn't wish for his nations to descend into chaos anymore, so that he doesn't lose any part of what he already controls. Both sides are fighting in the name of sovereignty, Chechnya to gain it and Russia to maintain it. I hope you have learned what you need, and I hope that we as soldiers will be able to bash down the Chechens and win this conflict. See you in the field.